Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome back to Bariatrics and Beyond, the podcast where we talk about life before, during, and beyond bariatric surgery. So grab a drink and a healthy snack because today's episode, we have a Vegas local. We have Jodie Torromaeo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Hi, welcome on the podcast. Thanks for coming.
Of course.
Okay, so you are what I would call an EOC OG.
I would too.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what do you do here in Vegas, all that kind of stuff.
My name is Jodie Torromaeo. I am originally from Southern California, so definitely a beach girl. Been out in Vegas here now for going on 14 years.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah. I came out for nursing school and it kind of stuck.
Vegas will do that to you.
Yeah,
Because you're like in a chokehold. It's like, well, it's home.
Right.
Yeah.
So I live out here. I work out here. I started in nursing school, became a labor and delivery nurse, went back east to go to graduate school, became a certified nurse midwife, which I have been doing for, it'll be 6 years in January at this office, delivering babies and taking care of women's health.
That is like, I always see your posts on Facebook and stuff, and I'm like, how do you do that every day?
It is rather exhausting, but so fulfilling. It is just, it truly is fulfilling. These people, you become part of their lives, part of their family. They're so grateful, and it's just so rewarding to be there for such a special part of their lives.
That is cool. Okay, this is like totally off Bariatrics and Beyond topic, but I just have questions.
Yeah.
So how many babies like would you deliver a day or a shift, or is there some shifts you don't even have any?
So it varies. When I was labor and delivery nurse, we did 12-hour shifts. So sometimes I would have 3 or 4 babies in a night with the physicians or providers there. When I became a midwife, then I had my own patients that I saw through their prenatal course and then delivered them. I haven't ever like specifically calculated. Some months I have 30 babies, some months I have 8. But I would say probably average 20-ish, 18 to 25 babies a month. And they tell us when they're coming. So some days, some even weeks, I don't have any. And then some days I have 4 babies in one day and, 8 or 10 babies in a week. And so a lot of not sleeping.
Oh, I bet.
But I've been working on this practice for 6 years now, and I've just recently grown. So I have more midwives. So my life is a little bit more balanced. Okay. So what did I do? I decided to expand into another career and field. And over the past few months, I've been getting into like aesthetics and cosmetic laser and weight reduction services and things like that. And like looking to like actually open a business with that, including telehealth. So they don't have to be here in Vegas come like next year. So January of this year.
So do you think that prior to like your weight loss and plastics transformation, you would have ever wanted to endeavor into that? Or do you think the whole evolution of your weight loss journey has now kind of given you that spark?
It's definitely tricky because I probably, prior to losing my weight, I probably wouldn't have endeavored in it because I'm born and raised Southern California. My dad worked in the entertainment industry. I grew up basically in Hollywood and I know about look and things like that. And I did not have the look to advertise for these kinds of things. People didn't want me to do. I mean, even in the job that I do currently with delivering babies, people want somebody who looks healthy and good basically for it. So no, I don't think I would have ever like truly delved into it. But now I'm at this place in my life, post losing the weight, post reconstructive aging, dealing with the skin issues and things like that. And it's kind of become like a passion. Yeah. Even for the people that are having the weight loss with the medications, which are a great tool / supplement to other things that, there's skin issues. They're coming out with them and talking about the, Ozempic face or whatever the case may be, that, I can work with and we can minimize and, delay the aging progression and so that you can enjoy yourself when you get to yourself. It took me a long time to get to myself.
A long time. That's the thing with like having this surgery, the weight loss surgery or plastic surgery. It's not like your whole life changes. It's not just, oh, I fit in different clothes, or I'm this size, or I'm healthier. It's like your career also changes. So, but let's kind of like rewind and take it back to the beginning. So, what surgeries did you have? When were your surgeries? So take us on your EOC journey.
It was quite a journey.
Yeah.
When I was in graduate school, I was back east at Yale, and I was 330 pounds, becoming a midwife, and loved what I did.
I did not know you were 330 pounds.
Yeah, that's the highest I ever saw. I'm sure it was probably
bigger.
higher than that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and older. I was a graduate student as an adult, not as a 23-year-old or whatever. But I went out there, and actually I was diagnosed at the very end of my schooling with malignant melanoma, and I had to have this major surgery, and it was super scary. And with my medical background, I was terrified, and not terrified of the melanoma. I was terrified of dying under anesthesia because I was so unhealthy. I wrote the things in my computer so people could, I really was kind of convinced I was going to die. And that was definitely the catalyst of, I need to do something. So I started looking into it after sort of dealing with the melanoma, graduating certifications, things like that. I started looking into weight loss surgery again, because it had been on my radar my whole life, but it was too expensive in the States. The parents were a little concerned about it, the research and things like that. So I started looking again, and ironically, I found a Newsweek article on Dr. Ortiz.
Really?
Yeah. So then I started to dive in a little bit, and I said, well, I want the guy that's the best, and I don't care where it is.
Yep. I did the same thing. Because I did a couple consults here in Vegas, and I was like, I did not get just a good vibe or anything. So I was like, let me just Google. I'll travel. It's California. That's kind of where I went with it. And then they were like, this Ortiz guy just kept popping up. Who is this guy?
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of fell in it fortunately, accidentally.
Happy accident.
Yeah.
Cheers to that, girl.
Yeah, right. And I moved pretty quickly on it.
Yeah. Good.
I contacted somebody, and I think I had my surgery within 3 weeks.
That's cool.
Yeah, something really close like that. And that was January of 2018. And then that it was incredible because, I was a Division I college volleyball player, morbidly obese. I was at the top of my field or my sport, but I was morbidly obese. So I was always sort of looked poorly on, never really seen, couldn't do the things that I could have done, for instance, professional beach volleyball, where they had requirements of the size of the band on your bikini.
Get out of town.
That you had to in order to play in the international tournaments. But I was training with all of those people. But I was this morbidly obese person. So when I got the tool, it was quite literally life-changing. And I didn't mess around. I did not eat a single refined carbohydrate for a year. And I lost my weight in about a year, 11 months or so.
So what was your starting weight when you had the surgery?
The surgery, I think when I had the surgery, I was down to maybe like 306. I don't remember. That was a long time ago now. Maybe down to that.
But still in the 300s.
Yeah. And then I went down to, at one point, I think about 178. And that was when I was researching the plastic side of things. I knew going into it, if I lost the weight, I was going to need the surgery. Age-wise, the way that I carried my weight, there was no, you're young and it's just going to spray back. I love those girls and men on the site that get to, have that blessing of rebounding skin. I knew I was not going to, and so I knew that I wanted to do these things. I didn't know how much I was going to need necessarily, so I also kind of did the plastics things kind of quick. Again, I'm one of the OG people, so it was not quite as tight with the scheduling at that time. And it took me a long time to send in a consult because of that shame of the body.
I think I sat on sending in it for a consult for about a year because I just did not want to take those photos.
Yeah, that was hard, and realizing, and people didn't see that. And when you lose the weight, everybody thinks, oh, you look so great. but they don't see what's underneath.
Yes.
The under the clothes was a great source of shame. And it was a lonely battle because everybody you were getting at this point, you're getting the feedback from your friends and your family and other women and more attention from men. And, you know, the whole gamut that happens when you start to look the part, unfortunately. But it was this shame that I had of what I looked like. Nobody saw it. Nobody saw me naked.
Yeah.
With the lights on, you know, it was just, I just hid it. So I reached out. Again, I'm a nurse. So I did my research. And when I came across Dr. Lazos and his extensive work in massive weight loss reconstruction specifically, that rang, you know, a bell for me going like, I want to do this. And then of course the bonus was I already knew the company. I already knew the vibe. I already knew the style. I knew where I was going, you know, all that kind of stuff, which helped tremendously with the nerves.
Yeah.
My mother, on the other hand, was always a little bit resistant to the Mexico thing and supportive of the journey for sure. And she knew I needed, you know, the skin reconstruction and things like that. So she came down with me again for my first round of plastic surgery.
That's what I was going to say. So talk to me about, did you have much backlash from like friends and family going to Mexico? Who did you take as a companion? And this is like a loaded question. It's like a 3-part question. And when you got to Mexico, like how was it for you?
I got a lot of backlash from Mexico. So the first go round with my weight loss surgery, I did not tell many people. I found it to be very personal and none of their business. And I didn't want to hear that, oh, you don't need it. Oh, you just need to diet. Well, guess what? I've been doing that for my whole entire life. And I'm broken.
I hate when people are like, you just got to diet and exercise. And it's just like,
it's so terrible.
It's so offensive. Like I had no idea.
That's what I was.
That's where I'm going wrong.
Thanks.
Not like I've tried this a million times already. Yeah.
The money that we had invested in different fad diets, different programs, different attempts, trainers, nutrition. I mean,
CG diet, the soup diet, the lemon pepper cinnamon freaking diet, apple diet. Like I did it all.
Anything, you know. And I was active. I was not a on the couch kind of overweight person. I was a competitive volleyball player, you know. So why it happened at that point, I didn't really know.
Obesity is a disease.
It is absolutely.
You know, and I think that's what's the hardest thing about being overweight your whole life too. I was big as, you know, came out big and I have lipedema in my arms and in my legs. And I remember going to the doctors as a kid. I got two sisters. They were fine. They looked fine. And, you know, six years old, I've got these gigantic legs. And back then, people didn't know what lipedema was. I was in like Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig before I was 10 years old. I went to every doctor, dietitian, nutritionist, and they were like, well, she's got an underactive thyroid. So put her on medication, which is fine because I did at that age. But it was like, just get her on a diet. And my mum and my dad were like, well, she doesn't eat anything different than what the other two do. Like, where are we going wrong? And it's like, it's a disease. People don't understand that. And I was the active kid as well. I did all the stuff my sisters did. I ate the same, but look at me and look at them. It's just, and that's unfortunate, but that's the, you know, the misconception a lot of people have. They look at you and they think, oh, she's fat and lazy and she hasn't tried anything. It's so upsetting.
She just get it together. It is truly sad, and it is a disease, and figuring out the source of the disease is oftentimes never addressed. And that's actually been an interesting journey on the back end of it. But I'll circle back to your question about how
Mexico.
I ended up there, went down. You know, I was a bundle of nerves. My mom insisted on coming with me, which was fine. I needed somebody with me. We left my dad in the morning, and I actually drove because I'm from Southern California, so I was in California, and we drove down for same day surgery. So we drove down early in the morning. We left my dad, and I said, well, I might come back less a kidney, you know, joking. that
kidney joke,
famous
I tell
thing,
you, we get it still every single day on social media. It doesn't get old.
I know. And we went down and, you know, found our way to the pickup location and had Now I can't even remember who it was, but a driver.
Was it Remy? Because he was my driver.
He was. I don't think he was my original
Okay,
driver, but he
right.
was there in the original stuff that I did. So it's always been nice to see
Still
Remy
see
again
him,
for
yeah.
everything and watch his little baby and all that stuff. So we went down, picked up to basically the hospital, and then blood work. And this was back when they were at that littler hospital.
Yeah, me doctor.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, nurse background. I had knowledgeable eyes, you know, so I had to, I did sort of pick apart things, you know, and there were things that I saw that were pointedly different, you know, but never a safety issue.
Right.
You know, it was just, you could tell that things that they were like, they didn't have that necessarily the tools or the finances to do the things that some of the ridiculous things that are done in our hospitals are done. But I took it with a grain of salt. You know, I wanted the healthcare. I knew the surgeon was good. I'm again a healthcare provider, so I knew to make that anesthesiologist my best friend. They're the most important people in pretty much any surgery.
Yes.
You know, Dr. Ortiz in his classic, you know, later day surgeries. I was very late in the evening. I think. And then I had been, you know, fasting since, you know, the day before. And I remember they gave me some ice that day. I was like, oh, but I went in and had my surgery and completely smooth sailing with it. I have a freakishly high pain tolerance. Good and a bad thing, but freakishly high pain tolerance. So nothing hurt me. The drain was bothersome,
just uncomfortable. Yeah, that's what I say.
And relief when it came out. And then, you know, the couple days back at the hotel, the Grand at that time, and was great. And the nurses were just phenomenal.
So nice.
I was really that was probably my biggest takeaway with all three of my surgeries was how attentive and good the nurses are and how hard they work and how appreciative they are.
And just how just genuinely sweet and caring, and they make you feel so comfortable. Like, especially, I mentioned this to someone else before, but like, you know, being overweight, you kind of, when you go into these sort of things, it always for me, like doctors and nurses and hospitals, like I've always had like a bit of a, you know, because I always just think, oh, they're going to judge me or whatever. But it was just, they just treat you so normal. And which is weird to say because like when you've been treated differently your whole life and then you go to a facility and you don't feel like you're the odd one out. You don't feel like you're treated any different. You're family. And that's what I loved about it. They just made you feel like family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that was, it's very true because as a lifelong obese person, you go into a doctor's appointment for your women's annual, for your pap smear, and they're only going to talk to you about being fat.
Yep.
And they're not going to even address the concerns that you maybe are going in there for.
The worst doctor's experience
with
here.
Every single thing, right? I'm fortunate now because I am in a field where I can touch women like that. And I actually feel so empowered to reach out to my patients that are struggling with their weight because I am not doing it in the way that I was done to me.
Exactly.
Which I think is very important. But yes, you kind of go down there and you're like, yep, we're all here for the same thing. Yep. And you're seeing and meeting people that are in completely different walks of life from you, completely different histories. And they even become kind of instant family. Yeah. Which is great, you know, to help have that journey to share through. Now, I was so OG with my surgery that I didn't even get told about the Facebook pages till after the fact.
Right.
Like, I think it was maybe a couple months after that I was like, oh, there's
like this support page.
And then I was like, wow. And it was just so nice to see the journeys and the struggles and, you know, and the success stories and things like that.
Do you think the support page held you accountable?
Probably not me. I think it can for some people. Probably not me because I was so
tunnel vision.
Yes. Yeah. I was so, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to, even though it was less expensive than what was here, I'm not going to waste this money. Yeah. I need to be a different person and I want to be a happy person. And I was never happy, unfortunately, because I let what I looked like affect how I felt about myself. Gotcha. That's, you know, your typical self-image, American, Hollywood, California, you know, things. So
I think it's just like, I feel like it's like big pressure for like women as well. I think it's a universal thing. You know, we're always so hard on ourselves.
100%.
Yeah, it's
men
the
are
media.
cute with their beer bellies. Women are ugly
like
with
dad
it,
bods are a thing, but when like mum bods, are they a thing, or like just like chub bods? Like no, it's just not.
And and we're our harshest critics, so we would microanalyze, but people are still out there analyzing.
Yeah,
she could be a little thinner. She could have bigger boobs. She could have more muscles, whatever it is.
That you know what, that never goes away and that never stops. You can lose. I've lost 200 pounds. So have you. And then no matter, I've been every size, and at every size you still get criticized. So you can't please everybody, but the main thing is you got to please yourself.
Right. And I did at least come into all of this with a selfish frame of mind. All of this was for me.
Good.
I was not doing it for somebody else, for a man to look better for, because, they were side bonuses.
Yeah. Right.
But I wanted to feel better about myself.
So at about how far post-op did you start really noticing like a huge physical change? And then when did like your mental change? How far post-op do you think? Like we started to get that confidence, you know?
So after weight loss, probably maybe 6 months, because I really dove in, and so my weight loss was pretty quick at the beginning. Everybody's different, so I'm not saying I did it right or wrong, and there
is no right or wrong. It's what works for you is right,
right? And that was what worked for me. I knew my addictions, I knew my issues. I knew if I let things back in, I would sabotage myself, so I worked really, really hard about that. So probably 6 months.
I'm an all or nothing as well. Like I don't do well with like moderation. I'm just like, I can't have it near me. Like,
Right. The things I don't keep in my house because
exactly. Yes.
Same. So probably 3 to 6 months after I was getting the comments, like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And again, I didn't share my journey with people. So I just said, I started a 1,200 calorie a day diet.
And it's not a lie. Yeah. Not lying.
And believe it or not, I did not incorporate exercise. I focused solely on nutrition until I got well into where my weight loss.
Same. Because I feel like for me, I know for me was like, I needed to lose I needed to get my mind, I needed to build the consistency every day with my food, and my eating habits needed to change. And I really wanted to focus so much on being consistent with better eating habits and the way I was eating. But also because I was almost 350 pounds, everything hurt. So I knew that I needed, in order to be consistent with working out, I knew that I really needed to be lighter on my feet, be lighter on my joints. When I started working out, it wasn't painful, because I was working out. If I would go on the treadmill for a little bit, it would hurt. And if it hurts, you don't want to go back. You're not going to do anything that's painful for you. You don't want to keep doing it. So I lost a chunk. I was the same with you. I lost it. I think I didn't work out my first year. I don't think. Maybe I lost a lot of my weight. And then I was like, okay, now get into workout. Again, it's no right or wrong, but that's what worked for me, because I wanted to enjoy it. I didn't want it to be a task and to hurt and all that kind of stuff.
I agree. I mean, and I was very similar. And I also knew, because I was an athlete growing up, like I knew what I wanted to do to work out was going to make me hungry.
Yes.
And it wasn't going to balance for me at that time to work out the amount more food that I wanted, so I wanted to really target the nutrition side of it first, which, so I did. So probably 3 to 6 months after I started the physical. The mental has been a journey. I'm really, really happy that I've come to the place that I am, and I've definitely uncovered some stuff that I probably never would have uncovered in terms of the source of my eating disorder and why I was where I was, and that's in my mental health journey, and it's shocking. And my mom's not even on board with it; she's not convinced of it, but I have figured it out, and the parallels of it. And I'm super excited about that. That mental health side of it. The other side of it, the self-worth and self-image side of it, I still teeter on that. To be honest, I'm 6 years out. I've been living a completely different life. I don't think I'll ever get rid of that self-image of myself. I still see the fat girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, still even occasionally you can cross the mirror and go like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. Yeah. It's like the body dysmorphia.
100%. And then even still with that, I still sit on the side of, well, if I could a little bit more here and a little bit more there. And, I got to my goal. I had my reconstructive surgeries, and it is going to be a forever lifelong journey, but I definitely have become complacent in certain things, so I don't get to not think about what's going in my mouth
ever.
Nobody, I don't ever get to be Nicole. Like my sister's similar too. She was 5'10", blonde, knockout volleyball player, me except for thin, so like I don't get, I don't get that. I have to think about the food. I have definitely become more complacent where I eat some of those things, but I still then beat myself up about it.
Which we shouldn't, because it's not fair to us to, some of us do have to work harder to lose weight than others. Some of us do have to be a lot stricter on what we eat. But at the same time, like, we still got to live life. You know what I mean? So, and I think we need to be okay with just like food. It's not like I'm going to have a treat or as a reward or as, like, we just need to enjoy life. And, if we do eat a little bit off track, it's okay. We are human. We've worked so hard to get to where we are, but then it's okay to have one of those days or a cheat meal. Or it's okay, like a cheat meal, I say that. But, we shouldn't beat ourselves up about it.
Correct.
Because when everyone else can eat whatever they want, but like, so I think we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace. And then we already know what we got to do. It's unfortunate sometimes we just got to work a little bit harder than the rest of them,
Right. I think it's definitely about balance.
Yeah.
And then the grace, the forgiving yourself when you get off track, as long as you get back on track.
Exactly. Because there's no use of beating yourself up. It's a downward spiral. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and I don't begrudge anybody and their journey, but for me, like, it's unfathomable to me to have done all of this work that I have done and then allow myself to slip all the way back. So I will always forever keep myself in check.
You have to keep yourself accountable.
Yeah. I had a second cousin who had weight loss surgery here in the States, and she thought the gastric bypass was going to be her solution. And she made no effort through the whole process. And she had much more weight to lose than me and lost like 100 pounds in the first year and did great. And then has subsequently gained it all back because she never wanted to make the effort.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah. So I will never stop the fight, never get to stop thinking about food and things like that. Yeah. But it is a little bit more balanced now where it's not all consuming, or where I can go and have the candy at work or the dessert at the wedding or whatever the case may be. Or, when I'm having a hard week and sometimes there's a little bit more carbohydrate in my life. Yeah. And then I look at, I still, unfortunately, and I don't recommend it to anybody, but I'm still a prisoner to the scale. It keeps me accountable.
Yeah. Everyone's different. Yeah. A lot of people weigh in daily, weekly or whatever, but everyone's different.
Yeah. When I see a number that I don't like, it encourages me and motivates me to make a change sooner than later. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, okay, well, why is it doing this? Why is the number going up? Where am I going wrong? And then you kind of see and you're like, okay, I know where I'm going wrong. Yeah. Let me tighten up.
You always know.
Yeah.
I know 100%. Yeah. There's never a doubt when I, when I put on 5 or 7 pounds in the course of 2 weeks, which can happen very easily.
Oh yeah.
I know what's happened.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. It is not a, but I'm eating everything right.
I'm doing everything right. But guess what? You're doing something wrong.
People have that voice in their heads and they are convinced, but I only eat this and I eat good things and I understand that. And I said, the one thing that it was so eye-opening to me with the surgery was portion size.
Yeah.
You can eat really good food and too much.
Yep.
And if you are netting more calories in than out, and that's your own body, but if you are doing that, you will gain weight.
Yep.
So losing weight for me was, and still is, I have to get under 1,400 calories a day to lose weight.
Yep.
It's not a lot of food.
It's not.
So I learned some tricks. I learned some bulky foods that convince you that you're full, that aren't caloric and things like that.
And that's when a lot of people say, and they get worried that, my stomach's stretched, I can eat so much more. It's like, hang on a second, what are you eating? Because there's a thing called slider foods and they're not going to fill you up and you can just keep eating those, and they're going to.
And know when you're eating them.
Yeah.
it's different. It feels different.
Feels different.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, it's a learning curve always, and it's
Yeah.
going to be a constant battle, and I'm okay with that.
That's okay. And you're aware.
Yeah.
And that's, what
I would love to see myself 30 pounds lighter, just to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
My body's pretty comfortable right now.
Yeah.
The BMI number is still not so pretty. I would still qualify for plastic surgery, but barely.
So let's talk about plastic surgery. So you reached your goal weight within like a year, and then you went back for plastics.
About a year after that.
Okay, so you were maintaining, which is a good thing, because you don't want to have plastics and then lose more, and then you still got, the skin. So talk about plastics. What did you have done on your first round?
So my first go round, January of 2020, I did the belt lipectomy, and breast lift with augmentation.
How many cc's did you get?
500.
Yeah.
I had no boobs left.
Wait, no wonder why they look so big. You have 500 cc's.
And actually, Dr. Lazos wanted to put 550s in, but he didn't have them in the office. And I was coming from here, and I'm like, now, Dr. Lazos, I don't want stripper boobs. I want something that fits my frame. I know I'm a big girl. I didn't. Now, granted, still to this day, I'm like, man, I wish he would have had those 550s.
Right. You're like, I know I'm a nurse. I moonlight and spearmint rhino. No?
So, I did 500. I mean, I joked with people. I said, my boobs are literally empty tube socks. I had no breast tissue left.
Same.
I had, so I needed to, fill them up, and still with the lift, I still had excess skin that way. And then liposuction with flanks and back to the BBL.
Did you get torsoplasty as well?
No, okay. I did it just extended.
Yep.
That's what he recommended at the time. And then the lipo, interestingly enough, I don't carry a lot of weight in the backside of me. So he wasn't able to harvest a lot of fat out of me that go round. So
you didn't get the booty, but you got the booty.
I got 500 cc's in each cheek.
Okay.
And obviously we know some absorbs or whatever, but I was very satisfied with the butt. Like it was one of the first things my mom said, "Oh, you're going to love your butt," when we were after surgery.
Really? Nice.
And so, I was happy, it's perky, it fit. And, volleyball helps with the muscular side of the booty butt, too. Yeah. So, I was very, very happy with it.
How
and I
did
kind
you
of thought I was done.
Feel like when you first seen your body and you're like, this is what's under it. And did you believe this was you?
Yeah, no, it was overwhelming for sure. My post-operative experience there was very painless. It was more achy and exhausting. You were healing and, that kind of stuff. For me, it
was the swelling.
The tightness, the chronic tightness.
And then the itch when everything starts to heal. The itch drove me mental.
I was terrified of the compression garment because I don't like things on my skin.
Okay.
And I thought it was going to drive me crazy. And in hindsight, it was my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Because it felt so good to hold in that swelling and the whole, so that was a good thing for me. So pain was basically non-existent. I used the meds that they gave us. And then I went home and recovered. So the beginning, it's all that overwhelming. Like you see the body, but it doesn't quite fit in. And then you're hunched and you're sore and you're, incisions and stitches and things and drains and things like that. So, but probably a couple months after that, which ironically timing wise was horrible because I recovered out of my first plastic surgery journey only to have the world shut down.
I know. It's like I can't even go and show off this body.
Everything that I wanted, hot girl summer, whatever, everything. You didn't
get it.
Got none of it.
You got the what were we what was it called? We were isolating. Was it? I don't know. I can't remember what the COVID term was, but social distancing. You got the social distancing summer.
Right. And
that's
then
when I had mine too.
And then I was a healthcare provider, so we kept working.
Oh, yeah.
So the stress of that.
Yep.
So, through that first year of COVID, stressful. I probably put on 15, 25 pounds back, which was still fine. Again, fine for my frame. Yep. But then, I see the previous number and, that kind of stuff. And then, as I healed, I started to microanalyze a little bit more. I didn't carry a lot of weight in my arms. I didn't think I would need the arm reconstruction. I thought my muscles of my legs would have kind of, gotten me away from that. But once I started to heal, I went, well, now I've got this good and now the other doesn't match.
Right.
So I opted for a round 2.
What'd you do round 2?
Arms, short scar thigh lift.
Okay.
With more lipo, like around places that he could finally go to.
Yes.
Because
can't really lipo the tummy and stuff the first round when you're getting a tummy tuck. Yeah.
Necrosis is a thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So that go around, he got 1,000 cc's in each booty.
Oh, you got 2 BBLs.
So I'm a double BBL person and super happy with the booty for sure.
Love it. I got to check out your booty. Actually, I was just mesmerized by your boobs when you walked in. I was like, good. Yeah.
I still oscillate a little bit because I do think I want a little bit bigger on the boob side for my frame.
Okay.
And aging, they've already started to come down a little bit even from the lift, and putting a little more volume in will save me another reconstruction of them, if you will. But really happy with the butt and really happy with, the overall, with everything. I had some complications the second go around.
With your thighs or your arms?
My arm, believe it or not.
What did you have? What happened to your arm?
So healthcare provider again. So I was, tending to my own stuff, and then, issues started to arise, and I was, trying to mitigate them before bothering the very busy Dr. Lazos. But I had one part of the incision would not heal.
Yeah.
It was kind of open. And
was it in your armpit? Or?
Yeah, it was kind of down lower in the armpit.
Yep.
And then it was a few weeks and it wasn't really changing. I had some openings in my thighs, but tended to, normally the thigh is a really common opening place, right?
Yeah.
But it was mentally exhausting, but I did tend to those myself. And those kind of, made their way into healing fine. But after, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, this one would heal. And then I finally went into my office and investigated myself. And the wound was actually tunneling. So it was open underneath what I couldn't see.
Gotcha.
So I even had my surgeon in my office re-excise a little bit and try to breed and get it to close on its own. To no avail. And then basically the answer was I went back down.
You went back down to Dr. Lazos?
He said, come down. And I went to his office, and he's a very, I adore him. He's a sweet guy. He's funny. He's kind of straightforward.
Very straightforward.
With my second surgery, he goes,
he doesn't sugarcoat things.
You got fat again.
Oh, he did not.
And I was like, I only gained back what you cut off of me. And the last time I didn't have enough lipo, so like whatever, but it wasn't harmful. It was just, he
has no filter. He looked at my face and he goes, "Oh, you need a full face of Botox." I was like,
thanks.
I was like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So he, same thing with the wound complication. He kind of was like, "Oh, it's no big deal. I'm sure you're fine." And then he actually opened it up and he was like, "Oh," it turned out I had a seroma. And that seroma had encapsulated. And so it was causing scar contracture with the wound tunneling. So he kind of had to go back in a little deep. We just did it in office. But
that's good. But that's good that you can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can just go
It's a rarity that somebody has to do that. But mine was significant enough. I had a friend who had one that was significant enough that saved her probably months of wound care by going back to him.
Oh,
but it's amazing. People... these sort of naysayers in the social media or internet world that say, they're going to drop you off in a wheelchair at the border and then you're on your own for the rest, and it's not that
not
case.
At all.
Which was also something that I researched, so I knew these things, So I told everybody about the plastic surgery, and that's where I really got the backlash of the Mexico thing.
Yeah.
I was a licensed healthcare provider, and they're like, "Are you sure that it's safe?" And I most of the time my answer was, "Did you think I wasn't going to do the research?"
Yeah.
I didn't pick the cheapest place in Mexico. I didn't pick the fastest place in Mexico. I did my research. And then, to be quite frank, I got better aftercare in Tijuana, Mexico than I've ever had in any incident that I've had here. And I knew that the reconstructive surgeries here was same day surgery and you're off you go.
Yep. The results aren't the same.
No.
They don't specialize in massive weight loss. Yeah.
I didn't want somebody who did really good noses to reconstruct my body.
Right. Exactly.
I just didn't,
Yeah.
So that, having that specialization and that experience and then the result, being able to see the results, and they're so candid about that. That's what I wanted, you know, and I was, I'm satisfied with my results. Again, self-image, self-worth. We keep nitpicking and nitpicking, but that's the plight of a woman.
Exactly. So can I get like a little bit more personal with you? Okay, cool. So you're single, right? Well,
Yes.
not married.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about like dating after weight loss surgery and after plastic surgery. Like, how was that for you?
Interesting for me.
Yeah.
Mostly because I didn't before.
Mm-hmm.
I loathed myself. It was the wrong thing, but I hated myself.
Mm.
And I never felt worthy enough to get into like a fully invested relationship. So I would have these very casual, flings here and there when I could convince myself or numb myself enough to think that I was worthy enough.
Mm.
And I mean, it's a horrible frame of mind that I have, and I know that I'm working on it, but why would anybody want anybody that looked like that? That was the way that my brain worked. Right. So I didn't do any of that. So dating was like sort of brand new. It was uncharted territory in a time that couldn't have been worse, right? With online dating and the immediate gratification and nobody wants a relationship, that kind of stuff. It was kind of, but
just judging a by picture.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah. And how fast they can hook up with somebody or whatever, but, I did start dating prior to reconstructive surgery, dabbled a little bit. Yeah. But then even still like didn't, fully invest, right?
Would you tell people like that you've just met, because a lot of dates, they're like, oh, let's go out for lunch or dinner. And would you tell them, hey, I've had weight loss surgery? Or did you like hold off on things?
I never told anybody.
Yep.
In the dating side.
Yep.
Again, none of their business at that stage in the game.
Yeah. Unless it progressed.
In a real relationship, if they need to know, I'll tell them things like that. But I didn't tell,
Yeah.
So I played the dainty girl role. Yeah. Just eat a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm so full.
Yeah.
So was able to manage it that way. But still was uncomfortable with the physicality of things because of the hanging skin and the way that the boobs look when you took the bra off, things like that. So, yeah, you can push all that stuff up and make it look a little like pretty decent on the outside.
All
Yeah, Hollywood magic. So it was different, and I mean, and I'm sure too, like the attention that you got changed so significantly.
Yeah, talk about that.
I knew that was going to happen, the man side of it.
Yeah.
But I was more surprised with the public side of it.
Yeah.
People in general were just nicer.
Treated differently.
Hold the door open for you. Talk to you. Say hi, things like that. And I'm a pretty social person and I'm a friendly person. My mother says I've never met a stranger.
Yeah.
But it was notably different then. People started being kinder to you.
Yeah.
People were more friendly with you. People respected you more. People listened to you more. I mean, it was just across the board. The man stuff, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I knew that most men were more attracted to someone who was thin. Period, unfortunately. I'm sure you got it growing up too, but I can't tell you how many times you got a
pretty face. I knew it.
Oh, you'd be so pretty if you lost the weight, It
always started with the but you've got a very pretty face. And you know what I would say to people? What about the rest of me? And they didn't know what to say or do. They're like, oh. I'm like, no. Like, what about the rest of me? Yeah. Oh, no, like you are. You're very beautiful. And I'm like, it's like the worst backhanded compliment.
It is. And I mean, and I fed into it too. Again, because of where I grew up. And I don't begrudge my parents at all. My parents tried the best that they knew I had a problem. They knew it was going to be a problem if I continued that way in my life. They knew the consequences of obesity in America, specifically Hollywood, and the walls that it would put up, know. So they tried their best. They paid for all the diet programs and the things like that.
And I just think there wasn't back then. There probably wasn't enough sources back then. Like resources back then of like what to do, like really what to do.
It wasn't as common.
Because it was just you. Like again, you're overweight, you overate. It wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and they tried, and the things that my mom did were wrong sometimes. You know, she micromanages my food. She still micromanages my food. You know, she judges what I go. You know,
Really?
and I, you know, have come to this point now where I said I've deprived myself my whole life trying to do this. I am not going to deprive myself anymore.
Good.
So if I want the Tootsie Roll, I'm going to have the Tootsie Roll.
Yep.
You know, and it's not. She didn't do anything wrong. It's all she knew.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, it wasn't out of malice. They just didn't know any better.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, the way people saw you, you know, but then men specifically, you know, you got a lot more attention. You got sometimes better looking and sometimes better quality men. But then I was also able to let people in, let people love me, or, you know, and that changed probably the most significantly of it is, you know, that. I'm very candid about my plastic surgery. I'm a lot less vocal about my weight loss surgery, but I'm very candid about it, especially in my field. I have my patients that I show them my work, you know, I tell them about these things and, you know, things like that. So there's no hiding that in relationships now, you know, my scars are a part of me.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it is who I am now.
Yeah. I love that. I love that for you. Okay. So winding it up, but I know a lot of people, well, maybe a lot of people don't know, but we do little reunions, like EOC patient reunions. And last year was the first time you came to one of the reunions. We did it here in Vegas. What do you think of it?
So it helped that it was in Vegas because I still to this day don't do very well on treating myself to things. But the fact that it was local.
Girl, you've got to.
I know. I'm getting a little I'm going on the cruise. So it helped that it was here. And I didn't really know what to expect. But I knew that we had this sort of little family. I had some friends that I had established relationships from my journeys and then even from the Facebook pages. You know, similar people. The girl that I went with to the reunion, she was also a nurse practitioner. Jess.
Yes.
She was also a nurse practitioner, so she kind of reached out to me about going down there for the reconstructions and things like that. And we've become friends, and we still talk. And you know, your surgery sisters, as they call them, and then the people that have, you know, by default or by accident, you become sort of inspirations to these people that are on their journey, which I still can't believe. But, you know, you get to meet them and, I want this, or, I can't wait till I get to this, or your butt is what I want, or your boobs are what, you know, that kind of stuff. But the reunion, my goodness, does EOC know how to throw a party?
Know how to throw a party.
Yes.
It was a good time.
I didn't know what to expect, but it was this, you know, like 2 or 3 day affair of just fun. And all of these people that are happy to be there because of what they have gotten or what they will get from this company. It's a company it still doesn't even feel like a company.
It's like a family. It's a family, and we all bond over the same things, and then we all just have a good time. And saying that, you're coming on the cruise because the EOC cruise is in March, and you just jumped on that just a couple weeks ago.
I had been planning on going forever, but this is what I do. I don't want to spend money on myself. I don't want to treat myself. So I
treat yourself.
So yes, I am going. I'm bringing a anything companion, meaning not weight loss, not plastic surgery, not related to EOC, but a girlfriend of mine that wanted to go on the journey. So she's to cut the cost in half. Which helps a little bit. But super excited.
She's gonna have a good time too.
Oh yeah. We'll
she's one of us now. We're family.
She has no idea.
Wait till she meets us all. She'll be like, these people are crazy. No, but we're going to the Bahamas.
Yes.
Cheers to that.
Which I have never been to the Caribbean.
Oh, you have it. It's beautiful.
So I'm excited about that. I have been on a cruise before, but that was Greek island hopping back 2 decades ago. So excited. And I'm just a water person, born and raised in Southern California. I go to visit my parents. I literally sleep on their boat. I could be on the water all the time. So to be on a cruise is it's just heaven. Yeah.
Well, you deserve it.
Thanks.
And I can't wait for March. I can't wait for
the themes. I'm sure you can't wait for the themes.
I love a theme.
I'm working on it. I'm working on getting there. I might seek you out for some advice.
I got you.
That stuff.
I got you. Well, is there anything else that you want to add or any advice that you have to people either looking into Mexico for weight loss surgery or plastic surgery, or just your biggest take on the whole transformation journey?
Yeah. So just maybe twofold. The first one is medical tourism is a thing. American society in particularly does a very good job of making it look very bad.
Yes.
It is not. Just do your research. And it's kind of easy to do the research now that we have the internet at our fingertips.
Yep.
And then in terms of the whole journey, the thing that I say, and I know I've said it to the people online that I've responded to their posts or whatever, comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
a good one.
This is your journey.
Yep.
This is your plight. You may not look like Kayla by the end of this, like you may not look like me. You may not want to look like us, and you don't have to look like us, but you have to do what works for you, and don't beat yourself up if it doesn't fit what your expectations were or what your time frame was, because it is a lifelong journey.
Yes.
And you'll get to where you need to get if you want to get there.
Yep. When you need to get there. Yeah. It's like, I like that. Don't put a time frame on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still, 6 years out of weight loss surgery, 2 and 4 years out of my 3 and 4 years out of my plastics. Like, I'm still working at it. Yep. I still have goals and aspirations of the physical side of it. Most lately, it's been the mental journey, which is great too, because you need to incorporate that.
You have to incorporate that. That is a huge part of it. Huge part of it. I love that. I had my weight loss surgery in 2018 as well, and then I had my arms done in 2020, and then 2021. I'm not finished. I still got to do my legs. So like the fact that you've done your thighs, I'm going to ask you all these questions like off air. Because next year, 2025, I want to finish.
Yeah.
I say finish, it's never ending, but like I want to finish my plastics.
That journey, yes.
Because like I feel like I'm 2 different people from the waist down. Like it's time to see what it's time.
Yeah. To give yourself some time with that total product. And it is your product.
Yeah.
Also EOC's product.
Yeah, exactly.
But my next journey is probably what Nicole just had.
Oh, you want to do your face? I was going to ask you, are you done? Yeah.
No, I'll have to. I'm her age, so like I need a little. I'm doing some other stuff.
Your skin is your skin is beautiful. I
work pretty hard at it. But
it's gravity. It's like you can't fight time. You can't fight gravity. But Dr. Espino is incredible.
I've seen.
He's incredible.
So I there's some other physical stuff that I might do too. It just depends, downtime and expenses and things like that. But I am so happy compared to what I was before, and so fortunate that I even found this not so little company in Mexico.
At the time it was a little, but now it's multiplied, which is fantastic.
Which I think is great. They deserve it because of the work they do, the work that they do, and the life-saving stuff.
Absolutely.
And it should be what it is. They're growing out of their britches. They're almost getting too big. They're going to have to expand and expand and expand. And I think that's great.
That's the goal.
Yeah,
that is the goal, because the world needs to know that this is a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to suffer. You don't have to. So many people don't have this surgery because they can't afford it. They don't have access to healthcare, and you do not need to. You don't need to suffer. There is an option. There is a way out.
And you don't have to do it alone.
And you will never be alone with EOC. So many people come and they say, oh, I don't have a companion. I'm going to be alone. You're never alone with us. Yeah. As soon as you're with us, you're family.
Yeah.
Forever.
You're kind of stuck.
You're stuck now. All right. Well, thank you, Jodie. It was a pleasure. Cheers. And we'll see you in March.
Couple months.
Yeah. Hey. I love it.